Data suggests that 75% of Belize's population describe themselves as Christian. So, it is no surprise that the churches are raising a moral objection to the government's push to legalize marijuana. Their long held view is that the altering effect marijuana has on the human brain is not the will of God.
The church plays an important role in the nation as it relates both to the morality of any issue as well as to the legality of an issue, because every Belizean should have a say in what is legislated.
It is on this basis that the church is distributing a petition in hopes of getting 18,000 signatures that would trigger a referendum.
It is right to say that the debate is raging. Political parties, unions, business community, the man on the street, the churches have a right to participate in that debate. And the Constitution also calls that any matter can be brought to referendum based upon a particular trigger of signatures.
The greatest hurdle religious leaders are facing is time. They only have until April 11th to get those 18,000 signatures. That is the date the government of Belize has agreed to sign the cannabis bill into law. Musa, the Minister for New Growth Industries, says he does not think it is possible for NIAB or anyone else to garner that kind of support by Monday.
I think it's a difficult challenge, Paul. I don't know. I don't think it would be possible. And like I said yesterday, I'm surprised that it would come at such a late stage. We've been putting work into this legislation along with the churches, along with the social partners over the course of the last year. And while it is that one entity, the NEAB, and in particular Pastor Wade, has been requesting a referendum, it is only now when the bill has already passed, not just in the House, but also in the Senate, that we're now hearing a call for a referendum.
Musa argues that the legalization of marijuana is not being done in a manner that disregards law and order. In fact, he says the bill helps to address the current deficiencies created by the decriminalization of 10 grams back in 2017.
So what you have right now is a Wild Wild West situation where people have to go in a dark alley to purchase marijuana. Young men and some women have to dodge police to bring in marijuana from Mexico. It's an entire illicit trade, like I said, that is connected to the underworld, connected to a lot of the killings happening, especially on Southside Belize City. And so we're trying to put in place mechanisms to create greater control so that it does not end up in the hands of minors. We even increase the age to 21 years old. You have to have a card in order to be able to consume cannabis in Belize. And so all of these things that are not in place for alcohol sales, we are putting in place for cannabis.
Pastor Wade says he doesn't buy Musa's argument. He counters that the government must first prove it has the capacity to properly regulate anything.
The argument is that the government is incapable or has shown incapacity to properly regulate alcohol. It has not passed legislation for secondhand smoking of tobacco, which is a known cancer-causing product. Now it wants to introduce a third drug, marijuana, on the premise that it will regulate it. And we are saying, start by regulating alcohol, start and prove to us that you can regulate things by regulating unlicensed firearms.
Musa estimates holding a referendum on the issue will cost taxpayers approximately $2 million. He says he is not entirely against leaving it up for the people to decide, but he asked, who will foot the bill?
Yes, there's a group, a small group that's asking for a referendum, but how do you balance that against the next 90% of the population that's saying that's not something that we want to invest our money in? I think the first thing that we should do is maybe do a poll. call everyone in the country, call a random sample of adults and ask them, do you want to spend $2 million on a referendum on cannabis? Maybe that's a good starting point.
I noticed that the minister was talking about how expensive a referendum can be. Unfortunately, when our constitution speaks to a referendum being triggered, it is above the pay grade of any minister of government. Because when the constitution speaks, we should all listen, because we are governed by the constitution, not just by ministers who want to unilaterally control a marijuana industry.
But with this week almost over already, NEAB will have to act very fast indeed to get the signatures they need for the referendum on this very divisive issue. Reporting for News 5, I am Paul Lopez.